Hello everyone, and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday, the 9th of December 2024. It's Gary here again, and you might hear in my voice this week, I'm a wee bit tired. Let's just use that word. That's probably the best word to use for this week. It's my birthday week this week, and I'll get to that on the shout outs, but that's meant a lot of partying, a lot of effort made by a lot of people to make my birthday special, and a lot of tiredness, which comes from a lot of not sleeping and a lot of alcohol consumption and a whole bunch of things that probably don't seem like such a great idea, and they probably don't sound like a great idea right now as well. So, but in the spirit of being a trooper and always wanting to provide you with the weekly update every single Monday, we'll do it this week. It'll be a wee bit quicker as the family are patiently waiting downstairs to go to the Rocky Mountains for a wee bit of fresh air and maybe just a wee bit of sobering up. So this is another kind of weird one, because this is 2 weeks in a row where we got another two important victories, and one absolutely brilliant, has to be best of the season performance, and the other one very solid, very efficient, no danger, no hassle. I was looking back over the notes from yesterday's game, and I'd kind of forgotten maybe in the moment that we'd scored so early then so late, but even then in the middle part or portion, I just didn't have any fear at all that we were going to come unstuck like we did last season. Just one of those ones where you're kind of like, wow, this is what Rangers feels like. This is exactly what it looks like, and dare I say it, there's a wee bit of optimism in there now. Of course, that we could go and have a very bad week this week, and then all of a sudden we're kind of back in the depths of despair. But the Dundee United game a few weeks back there seems like a million miles away from who we are now, what we're doing now, and the feeling that we've got now. Just shows you how quickly it can turn, really does, and then obviously with some results going our way elsewhere, it starts to make the league table look a wee bit a wee bit more palatable, and that's probably the best way to say it. And you know what, I was actually just saying to my brother-in-law, and actually to my brother-in-law's son, just on a quick FaceTime call there, just before I came upstairs, was about, what would it be now, like 4 weeks ago, it was just, I'm dreading this cup final. Forget the Tottenham game. That's a nothing game to me. I just want to get this cup final out of the way. Please don't give us a real do, and please don't give us some humiliation and stuff to really kind of look back on in terms of a bad benchmark. And then all of a sudden, I'm really looking forward to this week, and really just looking to see, is what we're seeing here just a bounce from some bad results, or are we actually better than we thought we were? Is this manager actually going to do something special with this team? And we have a fantastic opportunity to know and understand whether that's the case this coming week. So that's a good thing. So very quick game segment. The first one, of course, was Wednesday's brilliant 6-0 victory at home to Kilmarnock, and that's just literally more like it. And when I get to the stats here just in a second, it's brilliant. Like the stats, again, I think I've said this before, but the stats, you can use the stats for whatever means you really want to, whether it's to justify a negative point or to prove a positive point or something in between. But when you look at the stats that we've got for the last two games, specifically, this is just much more like it. Ball domination, actually doing something with the ball when we have it, and giving ourselves an opportunity to get on our feet many times, and that's exactly what we're looking for. The positives for me was the entire performance, the score, of course, and the implications of this for our charge towards second spot. I think I mentioned last week, maybe the week before, like the first and only thing we can concentrate on is Aberdeen. And we get Aberdeen in our sights, take care of them, get them in a rear view mirror, and then see what it looks like. I'm on record as saying the league is finished, and I'm not going to change my mind on that until something discernible happens at the top of the table. But second spot is obviously as good as we can get it if we're not going to win the championship. So this is looking a lot better now. But back to the game, I thought we were just quite simply brilliant the entire game. I missed most of the first half because I was at a physio appointment, and it was just, I couldn't even get the game on the TV because it was just, the doctor was trying to help me, and it was kind of annoying during it. But I think this brilliance, as I said, from the Dundee United game onwards, has I like saying it quite a lot. It's probably the best way to say that, and I just fear that this is because the pressure's off. Right, and I've heard some people in some quarters been saying that. Well, you can play when there's no pressure because you're never going to win the league. You're never going to do anything anywhere else, so you can play a wee bit more freely. I don't actually think the pressure is off though. I mean, look at the games that we've got this week. Very, very important Europa League game for us, and very, very. I mean, we're ahead of them, and we've got a really good opportunity to cement a spot in the automatic qualification spots for the last 16 here. So why would we not be going in there full of confidence? They're the ones. I mean, I think it was Big Colin from Orlando had said on the NARSA group chat there last week or the week before, like, all the pressure's on the English clubs, all the pressure's on them. So we've got an opportunity to really just go out there and pose ourselves and see what happens. And we're still competing, maybe not where we want to be in the league, but we're still competing in forefronts and still doing what we would hope to have done by this point if you take away the Champions League qualification debacle that we had at the beginning of the season. But this is as good as we could have hoped for, I think. Certainly in Europe, we're in the first cup final, we're cementing our league position here just in terms of, getting Aberdeen put back in their place properly, and we'll see what happens. You just never know. On the negatives, not one. You can't. I'm not going to have if I was being super greedy, a couple of more goals would have been great. But we'll take 6, take a clean sheet, no problem at all. So here's the stats I was talking about earlier: 73% possession, 73, and 30 shots on goal, with 13 being on target. We converted almost 50% of the shots that we had on target. Now that's more like it from a striker perspective, and of course having 5 different scorers is incredible as well, spreading the goals among the team. And Philippe Clement actually said something about that on his post-match interview yesterday. Was, if it's the same guy scoring the same goals all the time, I'm completely paraphrasing of course, but if it's the same guy scoring the same goals, that becomes a bit predictable, and then you can start to manage against that quite easy. But when you're spreading them around, then that's more headaches for their opposition managers and coaches to actually try and put up with and contend with and try and combat in some ways. So 30 shots on goal with 13 on target versus 2 shots off of goal for Kilmarnock. It was just absolutely fabulous performance. And in terms of the referee watch, as far as I can remember, as I say, I missed most of the first half of the game, and I know some of the boys were getting a wee bit upset about Kilmarnock falling all over the place and getting fouls right, left and centre, but I didn't see that, and I think he did what he needed to do from what I can remember, so he'll get the standard 7 out of 10 for that, so brilliant. Second game, of course, was yesterday's 3-0 win away at Ross County. We know what happened the last time we went there. That was kind of really the beginning parts of the skids that we hit towards the end of last season, which really just made us capitulate and fall apart, basically. So it was good. Another very solid victory, another solid clean sheet, some goals away from home, which we've been kind of bereft of recently as well, which is kind of not insignificant for us, and another 3 different goal scorers in the game, exactly to the point I just made there about the Kilmarnock game. And James Tavernier, maybe I should have mentioned him for the Kilmarnock game. I watched the second half with my niece Chloe, and when he scored his goal, I think almost any player in the world of football would have done the shush, the kind of shush gesture, if you like, or kind of put his hands to his ears to say, what was that you were saying? Because, I mean, he's been taking it tight from many, many angles this season, and he didn't do that. He did his baseball home run thing, and then he just did a wee love heart move as well. It's just a class act, and for him to get back on the trail of contributing to goals, because, I mean, he was going to put it in last weekend as well, if it wasn't for Holt putting it in, and so he was there to tap it in. So, I mean, he's been basically involved in most of the goals that we've scored over the last few games here, and that's great to have him back, because then he's an asset. Then, we can start to debate about different things, but when he was so poor like he was for such a long time, he has to have been injured or down or depressed or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not a clinical medical professional at all, but there was something not right with him, and I think we would all be able to say that. So great to see him contributing, and I thought his finish for his goal yesterday was absolutely brilliant too. Positives, I think everything, honestly, about this game as well. I just can't complain at all. I mean, the pitch wasn't that great, was it? But the overall play, we adjusted well to it, and it's great to see the team really just kind of fighting for each other and doing what they wanted to do. So it's the exact same for the negatives as well. No real negatives. And remember a couple for the folks that regularly listen. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of lamenting, saying, like, we miss all these chances all the time, and normally back in the day I would say someone's going to get a doing, because we're going to convert these chances at a given point in time. But I didn't really believe that was going to happen. And then lo and behold, we go out and do some spectacular stuff midweek, and then we've got some goals back, and you're kind of like, wait a minute. Again, just how quickly these things can turn around. And you look at the contribution of Yanis Hadji since he's come in. You know, a wee bit of a pity we didn't have access to him earlier, but he's really contributing for us right now. He's very incentivised and motivated to do so. We're incentivised and motivated for him to continue with us as well. So I mean, this is just a kind of match made in heaven for right now. And I think I'm just going to go with the flow right now and just enjoy it. I mean, we've got some. I mean, this is what being a Rangers fan's all about, isn't it? You know, I mean, this is coming into a big week after a couple of really good victories. We're kind of debating who did what or who was man of the match, or you know, some substitutions and things like that, rather than debating, you know, an absolute capitulation or disastrous performance. And it wasn't that long ago, so I'm not getting carried away. But it's nice to enjoy it for a wee while. In terms of stats, another set of impressive stats: 67% possession away from home, 14 shots on goal, 9 on target. So we converted a third of the targets. Come on, Gary. A third of the shots on target. I was trying to get quickly through this part, and you know, and I think that's probably kind of good in terms of stats. Half in one game, a third in the next game. I imagine you'd want it kind of somewhere in the middle. You know, maybe between a half and a third in terms of overall XG, as they call it now. But pretty good, you know, we'll take that. And then they had 3 shots on goal, 2 on target. So, you know, we just restricted them quite easily. Referee watch, I don't really remember him getting too involved in the game. Couple of bookings, let the game flow, so he'll get the standard 7 out of 10 too. So this is kind of poignant and significant for us, because over the last 3 or 4 games, Aberdeen have had a bit of a run like we had at the beginning of the season, you know, where within a few games rapid, there's points being dropped all over the place. They've drawn 3 of the last 4 games, and we've won 3 of our last 4 in the league. So we now find ourselves only 2 points behind them in the league table, and we've got a game in hand. So assume that we're going to win the game in hand, and then we play them at Ibrox in January, and we owe them a bit of payback for them helping me get my car almost towed there last month from the pin bar. So we're in a situation now where it's going to be one of these, you know, let's just, as I say, take care of second spot and then just see what happens. Keep winning games, keep getting clean sheets, and I think we'll be in good shape. So this week, 2 games, of course, this week. Not too important ones, is it? Just in the Europa League, and then a League Cup final to look forward to. The first one, of course, is on Thursday, the 12th of December, and that's at home to Spurs, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. UK. This is a big time game. I've been saying for quite a long time. You know, just taking a friend's family, close circle folks. Spurs are up and down like a yo-yo. I mean, you seen what they did to Man City a couple of weeks ago, and then they go and drop points again. Like, they're just up and down like an absolute yo-yo. We might hit the high part of the yo-yo, we might hit the low part of the yo-yo, but it kind of doesn't matter, because they should be coming and really looking towards us as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. And I think this one is a wee bit of a free hit. When we looked at the fixtures for the Europa League, especially this game and the next game against Manchester United, were the 2 games where we're like, oh, you don't really know what's going to happen. Probably not. They're in the Premiership, they're doing okay. Spurs aren't really doing that great in the Premiership. I think they're up 4th or 5th or 5th or 6th or something like that maybe. Man United are just going through that transition that I talked about last week, so you know, they get beat again at the weekend. So it's one of these things, you just never know. All of a sudden we could be qualified before even we get to the last game of the Europa League, or we could be, you know, in with a shout at least of qualification by the time we get there. Either or is okay, but it's great to look forward to these big games, and I very much certainly am. And then the next one is at Hampden against that mob from the East End on Sunday the 15th of December, with a 10:30am Eastern Standard Time kickoff, and that's 3:30 in the UK. Pin Bar, if you're in or around the Calgary area, Pin Bar is going to be open, fully open and licensed, serving food too by 7am. 7am, so between 7 and 8:30am, we're going to have the party of all parties, and then we'll put the game on and see what happens. And I think that's really probably the best way to leave it, is we'll see. We'll see what goes on. If we do well and continue the momentum going into Thursday, then there's no reason for us not to look forward to Sunday, and that's a marked improvement in my mindset anyway, from, as I said earlier, you know, 4 or 5 weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago. I was kind of like, oh my word, I don't even have any idea what's going to happen. You never know. We'll see. But this is one of the weeks that we're going to be able to look back on and go, oh, that was a thing, that was a turning point, that was a disaster, that was a great tech. Like, who knows exactly what it's going to be. So on to the shout outs. Actually quite a few shout outs for this week, and I'm going to be super selfish and start with my own shout out. Today is my 50th birthday. I don't typically ever celebrate my birthday that much. I'll kind of get forced into it a wee bit by my family at times, but for the most part I just kind of let it go. Just everybody has a birthday, what's the big deal? But this one being the 50th, it's been an absolutely brilliant time. My sister Caroline and her love Craig flew in to spend some time with us last Wednesday night, and it's just been a blur ever since then. It's been an absolutely fabulous time, a great time. I had a party at my pal Ronnie's place in Airdrie, which is just kind of outside Calgary here, and it's a much nicer Airdrie than the other Airdrie, but I haven't seen the other Airdrie for a long time, so maybe they're both equally as nice. But a beautiful big cafe thing that he has up there, and we had about almost 80 people showed up on Friday night, and just absolutely brilliant time. A party bus there, a party bus back. It's absolutely brilliant time, so thank you very, very much. And then on Friday I get the shock of my life when, because I knew Caroline and Craig were coming, then I'm in the pub and I turn round and my man Brian Campbell and Gaynor Campbell are standing right behind me in Pin Bar. And one of those ones that someone actually videoed it, and some of those ones where you kind of look and you're like, oh, hey, how you doing? Thanks. Wait a minute, it's you. What's this? That's exactly what happened. It was just, the effort that people make. It actually got a wee bit emotional on Friday night when I was doing my speech at the place, because people making an effort is quite a humbling experience, and it's something that I'm so very grateful for. We had a chance to hang about with Brian again and a wee bit on Saturday too, so it was just absolutely brilliant. It really was. My next one is for my nephew Paul McLister, and I actually meant to do this one last week, but I forgot, quite honestly, so I won't forget this week, so I made a point of taking a note of this. And Paul, the reason for the shout out is that he's going through a very big life change right now. He was part of a newsagents on Glasgow Road in Paisley for like 30 plus years. I think the shop itself was open for like 35 years and he was there for 31 or something. Basically joined as a boy and then kind of got up to kind of leading and managing the shop, and with his partner, and they just sold it last week. Actually, it was quite surprised, I guess 2 weeks ago now, and I was quite surprised. I didn't know that was in the offing. Things get busy and sometimes you kind of don't chat to people for a wee while, but it's a big deal. He's taking a well-earned breather for the remainder of December here, and then he's going to try and figure out what he's going to do next, but going from something that's literally the only thing you've known in a career to exploring your options and such is going to be a big deal, and I hope to be able to support him through that as he's going through. But good on you, Paul, well done. You absolutely deserve a break. When I'm saying a break, he's getting up at 2:30 a.m. to go and get the papers and get the shop open so that people can get what they need before they go to work and such like that. That's hard work. That's to be commended. So good for you, Paul. And as I say, I can't wait to see what's coming next for you. The next one I'll do here is Orange County, not supporters club, the Orange County Soccer Club. I mentioned this last week. They're running a fan ownership and for the UK. They did one in the United States last year, and they're trying to kind of canvass some support in the UK too. So they've got quite. I think they've got about 1,500 folks from the US doing it, and they were doing, as I say, a campaign in the UK. So I'll leave the link on the show notes for this week, and if you are in any way interested in finding out a bit more about that, please do click on the link. It'll take you to their webpage, and you'll get the information that you want there. But yeah, Dan and all the team over there are doing some fantastic stuff in the community in Orange County, and of course they're still official partners with our beloved Rangers Football Club. The women's team won 24-1 against West Dyke yesterday, and okay, 24-1. If Rangers were to win 24-1 in any of the two games this week, that's when I would start to kind of feel a wee bit less, awkward about this score. It must be a shame for the folks that they were playing, but good for them for keeping going. And it's obviously a wee bit odd that they lost a goal against a team who are, literally not in the same division, not in the same class as them as well, but. Yeah, okay, they're through to the next round, and that's it. But they have a big game, a big two games actually coming up this week. One in midweek, and then one against Glasgow City this weekend. As you know, Glasgow City are directly above us in the table there. So I think it's Motherwell midweek. The Gers guide isn't up, so when I get to the communication part for this week, the Gers guide, I'm just going to make it up because I can't quite remember there, and it wasn't done by the time I started recording. And second to last one will be the Narco Curry Weekend 2025 in London, Ontario. You can email narco2025@outlook.com for any of that. That goes from Thursday the 13th of February to the 16th of February. Any details that you're looking for there, you can get them by emailing narco, NARCO 2025@outlook.com. And the last one is unfortunately a wee bit of a sombre one. Fraser Curry from the Bramley Rangers Supporters Club unfortunately lost his dad there just last week. I know that Ian was having some health troubles over the last wee while, and I know what that's like in terms of challenges for the family, in terms of logistics of getting him where he needs to be, and making sure that his wishes are going to be honoured and such. And unfortunately Ian passed last week. I've been in contact with Fraser to see how he's doing, and he's doing as well as can be expected. I literally know how he feels, and Ian was a diehard Motherwell fan, and as Fraser tells me, and he did have a keen eye on the Gers, and most importantly he just didn't like that mob from the East End. So a solid individual all round, and I know that Ian was a keen golfer as well, and Fraser would regularly be playing golf with him too, so that's really too bad. Especially it seems a wee bit more poignant at this time of year, doesn't it, when something like that happens. But sincere condolences to Fraser and his family from everyone at NARSA there, my friend. On to the convention update. 184 days and 26 weeks until we go to Kissimmee and Osceola County, Florida. That's of course June the 12th to the 15th at the Omni at Champions Gate. We are still working through some logistics. We're going to get some advertising collateral out there. I know I've said that for a wee while. We've basically got it lined up. It's just this last week has just been nuts in my house, so it's been a bit difficult to kind of set some time down to make sure I do a good job and send it away. I was doing some work for my lodge this week. It's our installation. If you don't know what any of that means, if you're part of the fraternity, you'll know. And I don't think I could have made more of an arse of the documents that I was trying to send out, because I was trying to do it in between beers and in between conversations and in between events and stuff like that. Not my best work on that, I have to admit, but these things happen. I did my best, and that's basically all I can do. I do have a convention story again. I did promise you the second one of Lorraine's convention stories. This one's not quite as dramatic as last week's in terms of the damage to her and the overall implications of what her experience was, but this one actually goes back a year to the Bahamas in 2012, and unfortunately I wasn't at that one. I think that's actually the last one I wasn't at. I just couldn't afford it at the time, unfortunately, and they went down and had a fabulous time there. And this one is particular to the booze cruise. Now, I've heard a lot of stories about the booze cruise over the years, and Lorraine says it was her second ever convention and she went by herself. I knew I would know people once I arrived, but I was still a bit nervous. I arrived at the hotel, which was a sea of blue and white shirts. The feeling was fantastic. The goosebumps were real. The excursions were arranged, and about 400 bears went on the booze cruise arranged by the then NARSA Secretary Terry Zealous, and everybody knows how we all feel about Terry here in these parts. And everyone boarded the boat, and it was to sail for 2 hours, stop on land while we all went swimming in the ocean, and then back to the hotel for 2 hours. 2 hour back sort of thing. And we were instructed at the beginning, no jumping, no causing the boat to be unsettled, and no diving over the boat. And they were sure that they were fully stocked for the adventure as far as the booze was concerned. However, 45 minutes into the cruise, they had to stop to replenish the booze, and then several times afterwards. And then on the trip back, there were flags, there was music, singing, and 400 bears doing the bouncy on the boat. And the boat was rocking, and thanks to YouTube you can still enjoy that amazing experience that was had by all. And I know that there was at least one person who intentionally went overboard on the way back, tried telling a drunk Scotsman on holiday not to do something that looks like a really, really fun thing to do, and that's what happened. So another brilliant story about that, and please do send your convention stories in, folks, because they're just absolutely brilliant. Lorraine's were fantastic, and I keep getting threatened every now and again. Oh, I've got a convention story for you, and it never really seems to materialise. But I actually should really recount my own, give yourself a few of mine as well. In other business, we had the meeting with Rangers last week and kind of talked through some of the logistics. We're going to see a lot more what they call in terms of partnership logistics. We're going to see a lot more activations. You're going to see a lot more presence. There's already a lot of presence at Ibrox, but a lot more presence in terms of digital footprint and such like that from around about the end of February, around about the end of January, beginning of February next year as well. So really trying to amp that up and make sure that we get everybody that would be interested in coming, their appetite whetted, so that they can figure out whether they want to come along or not. And hopefully you do. And please do go to the NARSA website if you do and buy your tickets for that. On to communications. We're almost done here, folks. Today, I'm imagining there'll be away days for the Ross County game and probably highlights of the Rangers women's team's absolute thrashing of West Dyke. Tomorrow, I don't know, there'll be a whole bunch of stuff going on. Wednesday, I'm assuming, will be the press conference for the Spurs game. Thursday and Wednesday, the women's team are playing as well. I do recall that. And Thursday, of course, is Rangers versus Spurs. And Friday, I imagine, it will be the press conference for the League Cup final against them. And then there'll be some stuff, I imagine, in the lead up to the Cup final on Saturday there. And then, of course, we do have the Cup final in and of itself, 3:30 UK time, and the women's team do have that Glasgow City game too. So that's going to be a big bumper weekend, actually, in terms of football. My apologies, the Gers guide. I'm just kind of making it up kind of from what I would know. And one other quick thing, I thought I was going to talk about the AGM this week. I'll maybe leave the AGM talk for next week, if I even talk about it at all, because it was quite uneventful. I did really appreciate what the chairman said and the way that he said it, and I think that's really what I want to talk about more. But since I'm kind of going to cut this one a wee bit shorter today. Actually, I'm not even. That's over 25 minutes already. But we'll get that organised. Maybe I'll do a wee piece on that. But there was a really interesting article from last week on the Rangers website that Kevin Sinfield. Kevin at Sinfield. Come on, Gary. CBE will begin the fourth leg of his Running Home for Christmas challenge at Ibrox Stadium on Wednesday morning. Now, I don't know if that was last Wednesday or that's actually this Wednesday coming. The article, I think, was from the 3rd, so possibly it might have already happened last week. But this is so incredibly poignant as to why he's doing it. Him and his team are continuing their journey around the country, raising vital funds for several motor neuron charities. Kevin's great friend and fellow former rugby player Rob Burrow died in June from the condition. There was a lot of press coverage about that, media coverage about that at the time, and to turn something as tragic as that into something as positive as this is just absolutely incredible. He passed away in June from the condition, and over a number of years now, he has been embarking upon these phenomenal fundraising efforts for MND charities, with MND Scotland being among those to benefit this time. And the rest of the articles on the website, you should go take a peek at it. I think their target, because Rob played in number 7, the target is £777,777 is what they're trying to raise from all of this. So you might have seen some information about that already online or in the press back home. But yeah, certainly worth a mention. Congratulations to Kevin and everything that he's doing, and his team, of course, and hopefully they get to the fundraising targets that they are looking for. Quick reminder for the Rangers Christmas party, that's this week. That's this Friday now, the 13th of December, which is also my nephew Michael's birthday. So happy birthday in advance. You get a special one at the very end of the show here, Michael. I hope you have a wonderful day, and whatever it is you're doing. It's his first birthday as a dad. So that's kind of exciting for him as well. And then the Rangers Burns Supper celebration is on the 24th of January, so that's kind of coming up quick here, isn't it? That's like 5 or 6 weeks away. And then final reminder about the Rangers International Coaching Convention, the 3rd to the 6th of April 2025. I'll leave the link for the blurb there if you are interested in that. Okie dokie. So, happy birthday to me once again. Thank you very much, as always, for taking the time to listen to this one. Please do share it with whomever you think might be inclined to enjoy it. Folks, this is a big week. This has got an opportunity to really genuinely start a legacy, or to give us a wee bit more information that we thought we already had at the beginning part of the season. Who knows where it's going to go? Let's enjoy it for what it is, and hopefully we get the results that we are looking for. Take care, and until next week, all the very best, okay? Follow.